If you're planning to work in Australia through employer sponsorship, there's one question that could determine whether your visa application succeeds or fails. Is your salary high enough to qualify for an Australian work visa? Many skilled migrants believe the hardest part is finding an employer willing to sponsor them. But even if you have the right skills and a job offer, your visa may still not qualify if the salary does not meet the Australian government's minimum income requirements. For employer-sponsored visas such as the Subclass 482 visa, the government sets a minimum salary benchmark called the Temporary Skilled Migration Income Threshold, or TSMIT. This threshold ensures skilled migrants are paid fairly and that overseas workers do not undercut wages for Australian workers. As of July 2025, the minimum salary requirement for most 482 visa applicants under the core skills stream is $76,515 per year, excluding superannuation. However, this threshold is expected to increase again on July 1st, 2026. Based on wage indexation projections, the minimum income requirement may rise to around $79,499 per year. At first glance, that increase may not seem significant, but for occupations with salaries close to the threshold, it can make the difference between qualifying for employer sponsorship or not qualifying at all. For example, a job offering $77,000 today may meet the current visa requirement, but if the threshold increases next year, the same job offer may no longer qualify for sponsorship. That's why understanding your salary level is so important when planning a migration strategy. There are 3 simple questions you should consider. First, does your salary meet the current threshold of $76,515? Second, will it still meet the projected threshold after July 2026? And third, is the salary consistent with the market rate for your occupation in Australia? In addition to meeting the income threshold, employers must demonstrate that the salary offered is comparable to what Australian workers earn in the same role. Some industries are more likely to be affected by these thresholds, particularly hospitality, skilled trades, and certain technical occupations, where salaries often sit close to the minimum requirement. For skilled migrants whose salaries are near the threshold, timing can be an important factor. Applying earlier rather than later may help avoid complications if salary requirements increase again. Australia continues to attract skilled professionals from around the world, but migration policies are becoming more structured and competitive. Understanding how salary thresholds affect employer-sponsored visas is therefore an important step when planning your migration pathway. If you're unsure whether your salary meets the current requirements for employer sponsorship, it may be helpful to have your profile assessed before the next threshold increase. At Think Visa, we are currently offering a free eligibility assessment under our 482 TSMIT strategy program. This assessment helps determine whether your salary, occupation, and experience align with current employer-sponsored visa requirements. If you're planning to work in Australia through the Subclass 482 visa, this can be a useful opportunity to understand your options and plan your next step. To learn more about the program, simply visit the link in the description.